It was raining the night I decided to return. Not the soft, poetic kind of rain, but the relentless, soul-cleansing kind that forces you to confront everything you've been running from. I stood at the foot of her porch, soaked to the bone, suitcase in one hand and a half-wilted bouquet in the other. The same porch I'd left 3 years ago, the night I swore I'd never come back. When the door creaked open, she stood there in silence. Her hair was a little grayer. The lines around her eyes a little deeper. But her gaze, that quiet strength, hadn't changed a bit. She didn't speak at first. Just stared. And then, softly, like a whisper that carried years of pain and love all at once, she said, "You really came back." I didn't know what to say. I think I managed a smile, awkward and broken. "Yeah. I did." For a moment, we just stood there, the rain drumming between us like an unspoken memory. Then she stepped aside and said, "You'd better come in before you catch your death." Her voice, it still had that warmth I'd missed, that quiet authority that made you want to listen. I stepped inside. Everything was exactly as I remembered, the smell of coffee, the ticking wall clock, the family photos frozen in time. Except for one thing. Dad's chair was empty. And covered neatly with a folded blanket. "You heard about him, didn't you?" she asked softly, pouring tea into 2 chipped mugs. I nodded. "I did. A few months ago." She placed a mug in front of me, the way she always used to when I came home late from college. No judgment, no words, just warmth. "He always thought you'd come back," she said, sitting across from me. "Even after that last argument. He'd keep saying, he'll figure it out. He just needs time." I looked down, fingers tightening around the mug. "He was a better man than I ever gave him credit for." "He wasn't perfect," she said. "But he loved you more than his own stubbornness." That made me laugh, and cry, all at once. The last time I saw him, we'd shouted at each other in this same kitchen. I told him I didn't need his advice, his rules, or his approval. He told me I was running from responsibility, from myself. I slammed the door that night. And I didn't return, not for his birthday, not for Christmas, not even when Mom texted me, "He's asking for you." I thought I had all the time in the world. Turns out, time doesn't wait for pride to fade. Mom looked at me then, eyes glistening but steady. "Why did you come back, Alex?" I took a long breath. Because I kept hearing his voice. Every time I failed, every time I thought I had life figured out, I'd hear him saying, "You'll understand one day." I think I finally do. She smiled faintly, brushing a tear from her cheek. "He'd be proud of you for saying that." "I don't know," I said. "I was cruel to him. To you both." "You were young," she replied. "And he wasn't easy either. But forgiveness isn't about who was right. It's about who's brave enough to reach first." We sat in silence for a while. The rain softened, as if even the sky was listening. Then Mom reached under the table and pulled out an old envelope, the edges worn, the handwriting unmistakably his. "He left this for you," she said. "Said it was for when you finally came back." I hesitated, then opened it. Inside was a single note. "Son, if you're reading this, it means you did what I always hoped, you found your way home. Don't waste your life trying to prove your worth to the world. Just love the people who wait for you, that's where your worth already is." I don't know how long I sat there, crying quietly. The kind of crying that doesn't ask for comfort, it just releases years of guilt and love all at once. Mom reached across the table and held my hand. "Alex, he forgave you long before you asked. Maybe now it's time you do the same." That night, I stayed over. Not because I had to, but because, for the first time in years, I wanted to. I fixed the old porch light Dad never got around to replacing. We made soup together, laughed about his awful jokes, and even watched an old home movie where he was dancing terribly at my graduation. Somewhere between the laughter and the quiet moments, I realized something. Coming back wasn't about erasing the past. It was about accepting it, and choosing to love anyway. Before I went to bed, I stepped outside for a moment. The rain had stopped. The sky was clearing. And for the first time in years, I felt light, not because everything was perfect, but because I'd finally stopped running. Mom joined me on the porch, wrapping a shawl around her shoulders. "You know," she said, "he used to sit here every evening, waiting for that old truck of yours to come down the road." I smiled. "I wish I'd come sooner." She looked up at the stars. "You came when you were meant to." And in that quiet moment, standing beside her, under a sky that finally looked forgiving, I realized something profound. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do isn't leaving to find ourselves. It's coming back, to the people who never stopped waiting. Final line. She opened the door in silence, but it was forgiveness that truly welcomed me home. And I knew then, no matter how far I went, love would always light the way back.